Hello everyone, welcome back. My name's Adriana. I'm a knitter living on the east coast of Canada, and today I have some exciting updates on some projects that I started last month to share with you. And I think this will be the last video I make before Christmas and the last video I make before baby number 3 arrives. So lots of exciting things happening over the next month for me. I'll start with what I'm wearing. This is the Harlow sweater v-neck. It's a pattern by Kadri. I knit this last year in Old School Acres yarn, just undyed, the color of the sheep. And I haven't gotten to wear this. This is my first time wearing it this season. I actually haven't really been able to wear any of my knits because my knit sweaters, I should say, because they don't cover my pregnant stomach anymore. So I'm really looking forward to, after the baby's out, then I can wear all my knits again. But I thought it covers enough for a video, so I can wear it for the next half hour that I'm talking to you. I love this sweater, and wearing it, just even if it's just for a little bit, it makes me excited for when I can actually wear it after the baby's born. Speaking of the baby, all of my finished objects from the past month have been baby related. I really wanted to get all of the baby knits that I wanted to do. I wanted to get them all done at least a few weeks before she arrives. And I was able to do that. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't knit a bunch of sweaters or her whole kind of outdoor accessories wardrobe or whatever. I didn't do that. I just did, when I thought about what baby knits I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to do a blanket, a kind of outer sleep. I did the Selma sleep suit. I knew I wanted to do that pattern. And then I wanted to make a top and pants set, as well as a hat and socks. So that's what I wanted to make, and I have completed them all. Let's get started by talking about the top and pants set that I made. And it's the thing that I'm most proud of, I think. It's right here. Last time, I think I was nearly finished the top, and now you can see it is finished. It's hard to show, to hold up together, so I'll put in some photos of what it looks like together. This pattern is the Ellen's Coming Home set pattern. It's by Petite Knit, and the yarn I used was, again, Old School Acres. That's a yarn that's local to me, and it's just undyed white. And it was extra special because the sheep that grew the wool for this, it's always special because it's they live just up the road from me, but it was extra special because I got enough of this yarn to make a few things for the baby, and then I also wanted to have enough to make something for myself after the baby's born, probably sometime in the new year. And the sheep that the wool came from were a mother-daughter pair. So that was kind of special that it was the sheep were a mother and daughter pair, and I'm making something for a mother and daughter pair out of their wool. Actually, all of the finished objects, baby projects, they were all done in the same yarn, the Old School Acres undyed. It's somewhere between a sport and DK weight yarn. And yeah, I don't have any here to show you what it looks like not knit up, but it's just, an undyed white. It's very beautiful. Okay, so talking about this pattern, I think the pattern called for a DK weight yarn. And usually with Petite Knit patterns, I need to size up my needles to get gauge. And because this yarn was a little bit thinner than DK weight, somewhere between Sport and DK, I had to size down my needles to make a nice fabric, a fabric that looked nice. I can't remember. I know I did a swatch for this. I can't remember if it turned out to be on gauge or not. I might have done a swatch with the recommended needles and got gauge, but then I thought maybe the stitches were a bit too loose. So I went down a needle size and I ended up knitting the 3 to 6 month size instructions in the pattern, which I actually think that that's pretty accurate to what this ended up being. I've just been going through all our baby clothes from that have been in storage. So I've been looking at a lot of the, 0 to 3 month sizes, 3 to 6 month sizes. And I think this is pretty accurate to what the 3 to 6 month size clothes are. Of course, the baby will be wearing like a bodysuit type thing underneath it. So it will be a little bigger than what the baby like actually is. I'm hoping this will fit in late winter, early spring. And if it doesn't, I really hope it fits in the fall. I'm just hoping that it doesn't fit perfectly in the middle of summer because she's not wearing this in the summer. I did knit everything as per the pattern instructions, except I made all of the edges. Instead of doing ribbed edges, I made them picot edges, which is a very easy modification. I had never done picot edges before, and it's really easy. You basically knit to whatever length you want your edge to be, and then you do the picot row, which is knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, repeat until the end. And then you knit, however many rows that you knit before, you knit that again, and then you fold it and kind of sew it down on itself. And the picot edge makes it really easy to, it's easy to know where to fold it. So I did swap out all of the ribbed details the ribbed edges, like the neckline, the cuffs, and like the bottom of the body. For the picot edges, I thought about doing it for the waistband of the pants and decided against it. I figured you're not going to see it anyway, like the top, when she's wearing it, the top will be covering the pants anyway. And I thought that might just be a bit too much picot. So I did put them on, do the picot edges on the bottom of the pants. So yeah, I think it looks really, I wanted it to be a little more like dainty and delicate than ribbing. Plus, I don't love the way my ribbing looks, and I wanted this to look really polished. The other modification I made was in the pattern, Petite Knit has you working the button band in a rib pattern while you're knitting the top. I guess it would be more like a cardigan, like you're knitting it back and forth flat because it's not, connected. So yeah, she has you knitting the button band as you go. So when you cast off at the end, you're done. Or when you bind off at the end, you're done. I, again, didn't love the way my rib looks. I don't mind it in like a wool plus mohair combination, or if it's like really small needles, like really tight. But yeah, I also thought that if I was doing the picot edges, the rib with it on the same article of clothing would just be kind of like too much going on. So I removed those stitches. Like when you cast on, she has you casting on a certain number of stitches to be worked as the button band. And I just removed those, and after I cast off, I picked up all the stitches along the edges and did a double knit button band. I used 3.25 millimeter needles for, all the knitting of this. And then the button band, I went down to, I think, a 2.75 millimeter needle. And I love the way it turned out. I think it looks so good. I think it looks so polished and professional looking. I think last time I showed you this, I don't think it had the button band. And I remember feeling a little skeptical about how the buttons would fit with the look of this little set. And I love the way it turns out. I was worried that the buttons would be too big and, give more of a masculine look than the like dainty feminine look I was going for. But I think especially with the white, using the white yarn to sew them down, something about that made it really tie in with the rest of the top, and I think it looks really pretty. I'm really happy with how the top turned out, and I'm really happy with how the bottoms turned out too. It was my first time sewing in an elastic waist. Like I have like a thick elastic band in here. I think I did everything to pattern here, except I did one more decrease on the legs, and I think I just knit them a little bit longer, or I had to knit them a little bit longer, or like just do more rounds of stockinette like without decreases to get them to the length that it says in the pattern. But I do quite like how they turned out. You do some short rows in the back, so there's more room in the back. The thing that I was really kind of dreading with this was the process of folding down the top and like making that channel for the elastic waistband to go through, just because I had done a lot of like folding and sewing down with all the picot edges, and I was just like, I don't want to do more of this. It can be kind of tedious, especially with the amount of stitches that are around the waist. And it's like you don't want to have this kind of be slanted. So you need to make sure that you're folding it down and sewing it down to the row that the top stitch on the cast on edge is from. So I was kind of dreading that and putting it off, because my plan originally was to have two needles, basically like pick up all the cast on stitches and then pick up all the stitches here where you would be sewing it down, and then basically just knit two together, knit two together again, and then cast off, knit two together, cast off. And just the thought of like picking up every single stitch again was making me not want to work on it. But then I thought, I wonder if I can just do this with a crochet hook. And I tried it and it worked so well. I didn't find it difficult at all to match the like cast on stitch with the stitch that it should join after it's folded. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I actually debated if I should just like use a sewing machine and like sew it down, but I was like, you know what? I've come this far. All of the like folded edges on this are knit down, and I don't know, I just wanted to keep it all the same. So anyway, I'm glad I thought of that crochet hook because I think it looks really nice on the inside. And like I said, I didn't have any trouble at all with connecting like the right stitch at the top to the stitch below for sewing it down. Didn't have any trouble at all, which is what I was most worried about because I did not want to have the like slanted stitches. I was also a little worried about like, you know, sewing down a stitch in this row and then in this row and then down here and here and here. But something about, yeah, using the crochet hook, I didn't have any trouble at all. Like I knew like, oh yeah, this is the next one this is just the next one. And this is the next one. This is the next one. It was very easy with the crochet hook. I will definitely keep that in mind if I ever have to do this again. Even with the picot edges, this was a little different because I think, well, for sure the neck one, all of them were like done while you still had live stitches happening. Whereas this was done at the very end after you had finished knitting all of it. So for these folded down edges, I just had to pick up kind of one set of stitches. Whereas for this one, I would have had to pick up 2 sets of stitches, the very top and then where I was going to sew it down. So yes, really happy with how this elastic waistband process went. And I think this is just such a cute set. And like I said, I'm hoping it'll fit her like late winter or spring. And if not, hopefully it won't fit her until the fall, because I do want her to wear it at least once. The Ellen's Coming Home set pattern does come with instructions for how to make a bonnet that goes with it. I didn't love the look of the bonnet, so I decided to make a little hipster hat for this baby. Again, the same yarn, Old School Acres. I think I did, yeah, I used a 2.25 millimeter needle for the cast on edge. You do like a tubular cast on, and then I used a 2.5 millimeter needle for the rest of the knitting. This hipster hat is also a petite knit pattern. This is the 3rd time I've made it, and I used a much smaller needle size, as well as, again, thinner yarn than what the pattern recommends. So I cast on the number of stitches for the 3rd size, but was hoping that it would end up being like the 1st or 2nd size. I was going to do the 2nd size, but the first 2 sizes have the same number of stitches that you cast on, and then the next 2 sizes have the same number. So there's only like the only difference between the 2 like circumference. Okay, no, there's only 2, actually there's 4 sizes, but there's only 2 different circumferences. The difference in the sizes that have the same circumference is just in the length that you knit. So yeah, so that's why I cast on the number of stitches for the 3rd size, because the stitch count for the 1st and 2nd size were the same. I hope that made sense. Anyway, this is what it looks like. This is my 3rd time making a hipster hat. I think it's a nice pattern. I enjoy knitting it. It has always turned out looking good, in my opinion. The tubular cast on, that's the thing that's gonna kind of stop you from really getting going on this. At least for me, it's like, oh right, you really have to set aside some time to cast on all the stitches and the tubular cast on way, and then do like kind of the setup rows to really get it going. After that, it's a breeze. It's so simple. I did use combination knitting in the round to help my ribbing look nice on the front side and on the the right side and the wrong side, because if you're flipping up the brim, then you're gonna see the wrong side. And yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out. I'd kind of hoped that this would turn out small enough for her to wear it like when she was born, but I think this is gonna be too big. I'll try it anyway, but I think this will probably fit better when she can fit like that set, which will be nice. It's the same yarn, so it does match. I don't think I have anything really special to say about this. Yeah, it's a nice pattern. I do know that there's a free pattern that is pretty comparable to this. I don't remember the name, but I'm sure if you just like looked on Ravelry for like a 2x2 ribbed hat pattern, you could find it. But yeah, that was the little hat I made. And then the last thing that I wanted to make before the baby was born was a pair of socks. Again, I used the Old School Acres undyed yarn, so everything matches and everything goes together. At first, I was just gonna make up a pattern and use like stitch count numbers and measurements from socks I'd done before. However, I hadn't done like a self-drafted pattern for newborn socks. I'd only ever done it for like more like toddler socks. And I was not in the headspace to start thinking about measurements and stitch counts, and I just wanted to like cast on and go. I didn't want to have to like cast on, work a little bit, take measurements, rip it out, try again. So I remembered that I had made a pair of newborn socks that were not ribbed but cabled for my cousin's last baby. And so I went back to that pattern, and I was just going to use like the stitch count numbers and lengths and like needle sizes they recommended, because I felt like it turned out to be like a good newborn size. And actually in the pattern, they had the cabled version that I made, a year or two ago. And then they also had a little ribbed, like a 2x2 ribbed pattern. So that worked out perfectly, so that it will match the hat. Will she be able to wear these at the same time? Because I think this is like maybe a little bit bigger than newborn size, but this is definitely like probably closer to a year. So I don't know if she'll be able to wear them at the same time, but I can always make a bigger pair of ribbed socks. That'll be easy. I realized like everything I made for her, she wouldn't be able to wear as a newborn, besides like the blanket. But everything else, I'm like, oh, she's gonna have to wait to wear this. And so I was like, I wanna have at least like a little pair of socks that she can wear right away. And then she can grow into the other stuff. So anyway, this pattern is called Perfect Newborn Socks. It's a pattern by Tabitha Gandy, and I believe it's free. I had it in my library because I've knit it before. Yes, it's a free pattern. And like I said, it comes with two options. You can do a 2x2 ribbed option, or one that has like little cables going down it. I used 2.25 millimeter needles for these, and these knit up so quick because, well, they're teeny tiny and they use like barely any yarn. And they're so sweet. Aren't they cute? And they look good. I did knit them like the legs a little bit longer than what the pattern recommended because I wanted to be able to roll them down, like have that as an option. So yeah, again, nothing really special to say about these. This was a fun, quick project and kind of, you know, was a good ending to my baby knits knitting. I have to take a photo of all of the baby knits that I did, hopefully before the baby arrives. But yeah, I like that. Again, I don't think she'll be able to wear like this set, these socks and the hat all at the same time. But if she did, I like that it would all match. And I don't think it would look too jarring having like the kind of like soft, dainty like picot edges here mixed with the ribbing on the hat and the socks. So yeah, I don't think she'll be able to wear them all at the same time. I think for sure she'll grow out of the socks the quickest. That's like the smallest thing I made. The hat I could probably, because it's ribbed, you could probably get away with wearing it when it's like a little too big, but it's just like not stretched out. And then she can wear it probably for at least the first, like once it starts fitting her, at least a year, maybe 2. So that is the end of my baby knits and the end of my finished objects from the last month. I did focus pretty exclusively on just finishing these things because I wanted to get them all done before the baby arrived, even though I knew she wasn't going to be able to wear a lot of these things like right away. I just wanted them to be done before she arrived. It made me feel like I was more prepared for her, I feel like. So I'm glad to have them all done. And now I'm focusing more on my other deadline, which is Christmas. I finished my son's Christmas gift in September or maybe October. And then I switched to baby knits, focusing more on. And now I'm like, okay, now I need to finish my, well, first daughter's, I guess. First daughter's Christmas gift that will kind of match what I made for my son. And yeah, so I have 2 projects that I want to complete before Christmas. One is my daughter's Christmas gift, and then the second one is a Christmas sweater for myself. Let's start with the gift for my daughter. I have it in this bag because there's a lot of yarn management involved. This is the progress I've made on this blanket. This is the pattern Learn to Love Steeks blanket. This is a free pattern by Pearl Soho. And this is what it looks like so far. It is knit in the round and then you steek it at the end. So that's why it's a tube and not like a flat blanket. So my son's, I just did 2 colors, navy and a light gray. I had a lot of this light gray yarn, you can see there, in my stash, like what I already had for yarn. And for my daughter's, I wanted it to be like, I wanted to use this dark pink and light pink in it to have, you know, a few more colors. And also I wanted to use like that yarn from my stash as well. And I did a lot of math and figured out that I needed a 3rd striping color, I guess a 4th one. I'm counting like the gray as like the base, the main color. And then I have the dark pink, the light pink, and then I needed a 3rd color to alternate with that, with those 2, to make it the length that I wanted. So I just chose a white and I love the way it's looking so far. I think it looks really, really good. I was a little hesitant at first when I finished the first couple repeats of the stripes, and I thought, does it look not muddy, but like, I don't know. I just wasn't sold on the stripes, like the colors together at first, but seeing it kind of bigger, I really do like it. I think it looks quite good. I guess I'll tell you what all the yarns are first. The gray color and the white are both Patton's Classic Wool Worsted. And the colors, the gray is Natural Mix, and then the white is Winter White. And then the dark pink yarn is, the dark pink stripe that you see is Isager 20 in the color 19S, which I think was called Rhubarb when I bought it a few years ago. And then the light pink, all of the yarns I've mentioned are 100% wool. Then the light pink one, that one's the one that's different. That one is a silk and alpaca blend, and it's a Blue Sky Fibers alpaca silk in the color 101 pink, and that's the light pink you see here. And I don't know if it's coming across well in my phone, but the pink, because I'm assuming because of the silk content, it's really shiny, and the light pink is definitely the one that kind of stands out when you're looking at it in real life, which is kind of cool because I thought the white, being the lightest color, would be the one that like popped the most against the gray. But definitely the light pink, because it's shiny and like reflective, it just like, it seems, when I'm working on it, especially like in the evening when there's low light, it's almost like it's glowing compared to the other yarns. Like the other yarns really absorb the light, whereas this one really, the light pink reflects it so well, and it looks beautiful. I'm not taking all of the yarns out of the bag because it's kind of a tangled up mess. The Patton's yarns, like the gray and the white, I'm able to just use one strand of those. The light pink yarn, the alpaca silk, I have to use 2 strands of it to get a similar gauge to the Patton's ones. And then the dark pink yarn, I have to use 3 strands. It is a little thick. I could probably get away with using 2 strands, but I just didn't want it. I didn't want the blanket to be gapey. So I have 3 strands of the dark pink. I think it's looking really good. I love that it'll match my son's blanket, but it's different enough, like with the, like having 3 contrasting colors for the non-main color stripe. It makes it different enough that it's like unique for my daughter, but they still kind of go together, you know? I'm knitting the crib size again, and the only modification I've made is that I put the beginning of round in the steeking column that you make, and I have it right here. Here's the steeking column. You can see there's 2 lines of purl stitches. Actually, you can see better if I show you on the wrong side. 2 lines of purl stitches, and then this is the steeking column. This is where all of your color changes happen, right in the middle. I changed the beginning of round to be in there because I didn't want this to be in the blanket. I wanted it to be in the steeking column so you don't see it. And this, I don't remember having this problem with my son's when I knit his, but I am having a little bit of a bunching up problem in the steeking column. Maybe you can see here how it really wants to curl up, and I think it's because I'm just way too tight with my yarn changes, like the color changes. I don't remember that happening with my sons, maybe just because it was 2 colors, whereas, you know, by the time you're knitting the light pink again, you've done 4, 5 rows. So I'm trying probably from like right here, I've been consciously trying to be very loose with, you know, bringing up the yarn from below, especially because I'm like, it doesn't matter if there's a jog. Like, that's not something I'm worried about because I'm cutting it. You're not going to see it in the final blanket. I'm just hoping it doesn't like make, like after I cut it, I just hope the edges don't want to bunch in. I don't think they will because you have 5 stitches on either side of that like color switch. If you decide to put the beginning of round in the steeking column in the middle, you have 5 stitches on either side of it to like kind of balance out any tightness from the color change. I think cutting it too will like relieve some tension. And yeah, that was the only thing that I'm not really worried about it, but I'm like, oh, if there is a problem that happens with this, I think it would be that. Although I think since I've been trying to like keep it really loose, yeah, like I said, probably since here, I don't think it's as like wanting to curl up in, like it's not as tight as the beginning. So yeah, that's this blanket, the progress on this blanket. And this is really what I'm focusing on. I would like to get this done before the baby arrives. I have like less than 3 weeks before my due date. And I'm hoping to get this done before the baby arrives, just because I do find that I need to have some like dedicated knitting time, like a good chunk of time to work on this, because I have to be so precise about like where I'm setting the yarn, how I'm switching the yarn for each stripe. So this is really what I'm focusing on. For sure, I want it to be done before Christmas. Ideally, I'd want it to be done before my baby is born. So we'll see if, I don't need it to be done. I just need the main part, like all the striping to be done. The part where you pick up stitches and knit a little, I think it's called a casing, and then do the actual steeking and knit, you know, the steeking stuff closed. I can do that after the baby's born. But like all the striping, the stuff with all the yarn management, I'm hoping I can finish before the baby arrives. So I, yeah, can have some like focused knitting on this, you know, while I can. My final project that I'm going to give you an update on today is my Christmas sweater for myself. That's this sweater right here. This is the Franky sweater. It's a pattern by Sandnes Garn. I said when I first introduced this project that ever since I started knitting, I wanted to make a Grinch inspired Christmas sweater for myself, because How the Grinch Stole Christmas is my favorite Christmas story, Christmas movie. And yeah, I don't know, it was just an idea I had when I first started knitting, and it's been kind of in the back of my mind every year when Christmas comes around to be like, oh yeah, you should do that. And this is the year that it's happening. So this is my other project that I want to get done before Christmas. I think last time I showed this to you, I wasn't done the yoke yet. I am officially done the yoke. You can see I have my sleeve stitches on hold. And then before I continued the body, I decided to knit the neck. I like doing that kind of when you finish. I feel like when I finish a ball of yarn on the body, before attaching a new one, I like to go ahead and do the neck, maybe even the sleeves too. I'm debating what I should do next, do more of the body or do the sleeves next. But yes, this is the progress I've made in the last month. I have not knit on this so much because, like I said, I was working on the baby knits, and then after those were done, I've really been trying to get through the striping portion of that blanket. But the yarn, I'll talk about the yarn. I'm using 2 strands of yarn held together for this. The first one is Briggs & Little Sport 1-ply yarn in the color Fern Green. And the second one is a Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the color Pea Shoots. I don't have any of the, well, this is how much I have of the Briggs & Little one. And this is what the mohair looks like. And I said before, I feel like this is like the perfect Grinch green color. I bought this yarn online, and that really can be hit or miss. I think I've had more misses than hits with buying yarn online, having the colors be what I thought they would. So I was really happy when this turned out to be like exactly what I was picturing. I did not get gauge for this, so I'm knitting a bigger size, hoping that it will fit similar to the size that I would normally knit. And so far, the only thing that I'm a little nervous about is there seems to be a bit of puckering on the neck. I think kind of on the front and the back. You see here? Yeah, some puckering happening here. I don't know exactly what that is caused by. I'm wondering if it has to do with how I picked up the stitches for my neckline. Like, I don't know if the puckering means I picked up too many stitches in this area or too few stitches in this area. I really don't know. The pattern is, it doesn't hold your hand with its instructions. So it just tells you pick up this many stitches for the neck. Whereas other patterns I've used have said like, okay, pick up this many stitches along the back. That will be like 1 for every row. Pick up this many stitches along the shoulder. That's like, 2 out of every 3 stitches, And this was just pick up this many stitches for the neck. I think it's looking worse on camera than it does in real life. I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna block it like when it's done and see if that makes a difference, because I have tried to like kind of stretch the fabric out. Like when you stretch it out like this, no puckering. So I am going to just finish the sweater, block it, and if that doesn't solve the puckering problem, I'll just redo the neck. It doesn't look too bad from, actually, yeah, I think this is the back. It doesn't look too bad from the back. The front is definitely where it's noticeable. So if you know why this is happening in relation to like how I picked up for the neck, let me know. But yeah, I plan to block it, and then if it's still an issue, I'll take out the neck and redo the neck. That's the last of the updates I have to share with you. Hopefully next time I see you, I will have both of these projects done, because I do want both of them done before Christmas. I think I like having a deadline for knitting. Like, it really motivated me to get like all these baby knits done. Having, the baby's due date motivated me to get some baby knits done. Christmas is motivating me to work on these projects. But I am looking forward to having, I guess, more leisurely knits after I'm done these projects. Yeah, I haven't really thought of like what I want to knit after I'm done these, because I'm really just so focused on trying to get these things done. But I have yarn that I'm excited to use. So I'm sure once I'm, close to finishing these, really start thinking about what I want to make next. So the next time I see you will be after the baby's born, after Christmas. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and are able to get all the, holiday crafting that you want to do done. It's such a cozy time for crafting. And I know a lot of people like to do gifts and stuff this time of year, crafty gifts. So I hope they all turn out the way you want them to and you have fun making them. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.